Welcome to the very first episode of what are we calling this? The Three Nimrods?
The Three Nimrods, yeah, I think
Is that
that's what
what
we're
we're
Three
calling
calling
it?
it.
Nimrods.
All
Oh
right.
yeah.
Welcome to the first episode of the Three Nimrods. I'm Q. There's Bassman and there's Hammy. Hey guys.
How are we?
Woo.
Basic
What's going
doing all
on,
right.
guys?
Basically, in a nutshell, this is our podcast talking about Green Day gear. Uh, this kind of spawns out of the couple videos I did with Poppin' Curbs talking about all of Billie Joe's guitars and talking about the magazine that I have that I got all the way from Japan. And obviously, these are two of my closest friends, and we're deciding to do this. So thanks, Ryan, for the inspiration.
Shout
and
out
that,
Ryan. Yeah.
yeah, and that, and then yeah. So before we dive into it, how did we all meet?
It's a it's a brilliant question, and there's so much we could say, but I think in between the three of us, correct me if I'm wrong,
Mhm.
Bass, but was it 2012
Yeah,
or 11
Sounds
maybe?
I think and you can anyone feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I bought a replica of Blue
mhm.
in 2011. I got it for my 12th birthday. And I started posting videos on YouTube around the same time I think
Yeah.
Hammy was posting videos. I don't remember everything because my memory's a little boggled up, but I think we just started chatting.
I,
Um, and then
I
we
can tell
followed each.
you,
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
can tell you exactly how that happened. So you'd already posted a little bit, I remember. Um, and I think that was right around the time that I was looking at getting into, Green Day replicas, blue replicas, and I'd started putting my first one together. And I saw your video where I think I remember it so clearly to this day. You had a 96 blue replica sitting on a
I
table.
remember that guitar.
Yeah, and you were just filming it on probably like an iPhone 3GS from like the
Yeah,
memory of what the video looked like. Oh, I think you
Yeah,
had like one of those flip video cameras at one point too.
yeah,
But yeah, I remember that. And then I think I reached out to you from there, and that's how we started talking. And then I
yeah.
started posting videos because of you. So it
Cool.
was it was very much because of what you were doing.
Yeah, and then I remember like the whole summer of my sixth and seventh grade and eighth grade years, me and Hammy would, and also for people who don't know, Hammy is in Australia. I'm in the
Mm,
United
mhm.
States in the
Yeah.
East Coast. So I would stay up all night
mm.
during, you
During the
know,
during the summer because
during the
that's
summer.
what we did anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Hammy was just living day by day, and we I would stay up all night with him, and I would be printing out stickers. I would doing measurements and figuring out everything, looking at pictures. I used to have a Google
Yeah.
Drive filled with hundreds and hundreds of pictures,
Yeah.
and we
Same.
just. And then I remember after that, like finding Q Quinn on Instagram,
Yeah.
and then we all kind of connected from there, and
Yeah.
and then it
Then I think
wasn't.
after that we lost touch for a little bit. Just kind of
We
life
did.
happening. There's kind of life happening, I think. And then
Yeah.
several years later, I come back with this guitar, which some of you have probably seen already. And Hammy and I both frequent the Green Day community forum, and I think Bash, you're back on there too. I think,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and that's kind of how we all reconnected about a year
Mm.
ago now. I think
Yeah,
And it
I
sounds
was
about
yeah.
really interesting for me because for a few years before that, I'd been following your updates and everything on Green Day community,
right. Mhm.
on the thread about the blue backups, and I had no idea that it was you because at this point,
Oh
I
yeah,
think, by this point you'd moved off of, the social media and everything, and
yeah. That was
we
really
hadn't spoken a few years,
right.
yeah, it wasn't until much later, I think maybe like a few years into that thread being a thing. I think it was even uh, after Bill Schneider popped in and answered a lot of things, which we'll get into. But I think it was a good time after that that we actually realized who each other were.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
Hilarious.
aside from the fact that that I think you're still just Hammy on the
oh yeah,
forum
yeah,
and
yeah,
what my I was like, hey, I remember it.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
I think I wanted to keep mine. I'm not going to say what mine is. If you know what it is, that's great. But I think I wanted to keep mine a little more anon at the time.
Oh, for
And
sure. It worked
And
because
yeah,
until you said like,
until
"Hey, I
then,
know you," I
until
wouldn't have
then,
had any idea.
right? Yeah, and then I think Bass, you reached out to me looking like, hey, like, what can you tell me about your replica? And
Mm,
Yeah.
that's kind of where we landed today.
Yeah. Well, it's
yeah.
it's really funny because I think I saw your replica post
Hmm.
a while back, but last year, I guess it was like a year ago
Yeah,
around this
Mm,
about
time or
that. Yeah.
so, May of last year. Well, actually, before that, December of last year, I started getting into a Green Day kicking again. I was like, I really want to revisit the music that made me fall in love with
mm,
Right.
guitar, and because I was starting to sub in some bands with guitar, and I was like, I want to get back
Yeah.
into like what made me learn guitar and like fall in love with it. And then it's like, wouldn't it be cool to make a replica again? Like, I know I still like me and Hammy will chat up once a year or so,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
Right.
and then I found your post like out of nowhere,
Hmm.
and it was funny. Like my last year on my birthday, because my birthday just passed. Like my uncles asked me what I wanted for my birthday. I was like, you know what? I might ask him if he could ship me a body. That'd be cool. Maybe do a little
Hmm.
replica. And then when I saw your post, like that'd be cool. So I reached out to you, and then
Yeah, I kind of told
maybe
you how everything came together.
yeah. And then a months go by, and then I added Hammy to the group chat, and now we're
Yeah.
here.
Now we're
And
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
and
So
to I guess to cap that off and maybe allude to what we're going to do more in the future video wise, it's been a wild year and a bit that we've all kind of been connected because between
think
all of us,
so. Yeah.
we've all probably got one or two pretty exciting projects happening. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
Yeah. Number two for me is coming down the pipe, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah.
So
Sweet.
as far as
absolutely,
what we're talking about today, I guess we're going to kind of break down for everybody what the Nimrod rig was like back then, because
mm,
it seems like a lot of people, uh, especially in kind of those, I guess, middle years, I guess you'd say for Green Day, like
mm,
especially like the Nimrod days, it's still a little fuzzy, I think, what kind of the rig was like, because we know that Billy has his Marshalls, but he's added a ton of other stuff to it.
mm.
And I think we've got a pretty solid breakdown of what we're going to do. I think we're going to kick it off with guitars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's do
absolutely. I
it.
think that's the best place.
Yeah, might as well go with guitar, amps, and then rack stuff. So I think
Yeah.
so. Since I'm doing guitars here, I think we'll kick it off. The first one is the one that everybody knows, the tried and true Fernandez RST 80, not a 50, it's an 80
That's right.
Sonic Blue that Billy is still playing today. Has the JB in the bridge. It's a black one. This one, it's really weird because to kind of preface a little bit, what Billy was doing back then with his guitar straps was that he would have is that either the top end would be taped like like you always knew, and then the bottom end would have like some kind of extension on it, or in the case of Blue, there was a purple bungee cable that was tied to that and then taped to the guitar. And I don't know where that was coming from. If even then the straps were too short for him, I never quite understood why. Because even on not to jump too far ahead, but even on mine, I kind of have a little something
Mm,
here to make the strap a little longer for me because I'm a pretty tall guy. Billy Joe's really
mm.
Yeah.
short, so I definitely had to account for that. But yeah, it has a purple bungee cable tied to the bottom of the strap. So that was something that very much stuck out to me. And then satin chrome Spurzal locking tuners, and then that was really the main guitar for all the really old songs. And
Mm.
the current
Yeah.
status is it's still used today. So that's Blue. Following that was this weird, like pink or orange Strat. This one was a real Fender. So this was the backup guitar for Blue basically. And the way that they made this work was that there was always the main guitar for each tuning that they were using, and then each one had a spare, pretty much.
Mm.
Um, this pink and orange, which do you guys know what this one is? Like what this color is called? A couple
It,
different ideas.
Well, from what we have found out, and we can get into this later, but from our own research and reaching out to people, it seems like the actual color is Desert Sand,
Might
Oh,
be interesting.
which was a custom shop color, or I
Yeah.
guess still is. But
mm,
when
Hmm.
you look at pictures, it's hard to kind of tell because obviously it can be a little inconsistent
yeah,
Yeah.
through
It's like
if it's a
Sonic
little
Blue or Candy
pinker.
Apple Red. Yeah,
absolutely.
it's a weird color.
Yeah, it's a weird color, but I've definitely seen some photos where it's the right, like it's kind of the right balance of pink, but also
Mhm.
tanny. So it's
It
a
Yeah,
has
mix
that. It
of
has that
tan
kind of
and
tan, that tan
yeah,
color. Yeah, because you think because what I was thinking like, oh, pink sand. That I guess that makes sense. And
yeah,
mm,
like, oh, it's got a bit of a pink tint to it. I guess depending on how it's sprayed. But yeah, I mean that's totally a possibility.
yeah.
I'm not
And
entirely
it's
sure though. We'll have to keep looking into that.
yeah, we'll have to keep looking into it. And the other thing that's interesting, I've seen other colors like Sahara. I mean, you could,
mm.
Yeah,
Sahara or like, stuff like that. And even
shell
I've looked,
pink was another one.
yeah, shell pink. And that's a good example too, because even when I would see shell pink guitars pop up on Reverb, I'd say, no, I think that's even a little too
It's a little
pink,
too pink. Yeah, because
Yeah.
Yeah,
because shell pink it's pale, but it's still pink. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
This guitar, I think, is really one that, as much as we're talking about stuff that happened, going on 30 years ago,
Yeah.
there's still a lot of unknowns with it, not only because of the short time it was used, which we'll get into, but
Mhm.
I remember back when, you know, Bass and I were kids and we were looking into this stuff, there was almost nothing about this guitar. Like a lot of the
No,
reference material that we're going to be putting up here, overlaying, has come up in what, the last 5, 6 years
yeah,
maximum, and
I
that's
would
even
say
pushing
so.
it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I
you
think
know,
that the only photo that I had of it was the total guitar photo of Billy sitting in the rehearsal room, like he's got
yeah,
blue and he has his
mm,
touring guitars. He has the Explorer kind of sitting in
yeah,
his lap, and that was the only photo that I had of it ever,
yeah.
and I
yeah.
never knew what that guitar was or where it came from. But
The
knowing
only
what
other
we know now, it
reference,
makes a lot of sense.
for
And even
sure.
more so, it wasn't even until like a bunch of amazing people on the forum and on YouTube and stuff started posting newer clips from that era until I
Yeah,
think we kind of jotted down that hey, that was a replica, and now we can see it even being played. Because I even remember, like you said, Hammy, like the only picture I saw of that was yeah him with that Explorer guitar and
Mhm. Yeah, that's
mm,
like sitting
Desert
right
Sand.
behind him, like this.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
and just
and
like all that
to,
stuff.
to to my memory, the only real decent video we had of it being played,
Mhm.
going back 12, 15 years ago, was a low quality. It was probably like 240p, um, Hitching a Ride when they did that
Yeah, it was
on that French
on
TV show,
That's right. Yeah, on
Canal
Canal
Plus,
Plus.
or
That on
yeah,
Canal Plus. Yeah, yeah. Because I remember because they missed the count in, and then Billy just kind of throws the guitar at the end of the song. That's what I remember
Yeah,
from that video. But yeah, that's where he was playing it. Yeah, it was. And even at that time, that guitar was used for the standard tuning songs. So I guess they kind
yeah,
of switched out what they wanted to be like a backup or a main guitar kind of thing. So, but yeah, I mean, this one was really simple and it has one pickup. It's just a white JB with a white pick guard,
yeah,
mm,
just a single white volume knob. It's got a handful of stickers on it, and then the has vintage style tuners. It doesn't have locking tuners. I don't know why.
which is
It
really
even
interesting.
has, yeah, it was. I mean, from what Bill Schneider told us was that it was a custom shop guitar,
Mm,
which is correct. It's a parts caster, presumably built by Timmy Chunks, because Billy Zoltek did a lot of good stuff for him back then.
mm-hmm.
mm,
And then really after that, it just kind of wasn't really used a lot from what Bill said. So he doesn't remember what happened to it, unfortunately. But
Mm-hmm.
it has a large 70s headstock. It has shallow strap locks, only on the top horn. Again, the bottom of the strap had the extension on it, and that was taped to the guitar. And it was a levy strap, which is pretty neat. So,
mm.
Yeah. And Q
I think
also, if you wanted to go into what you read in some magazines and through sources about
Oh
him
yeah,
going down to the custom shop
that's
factory
right.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What Bill and Tim, what they used to do was they used to go down to Fender and they would just get the parts and build the guitars themselves. So it totally
Hmm.
explains how all of these turned out.
Mm,
So it makes total sense that it's a open pick guard with one pickup, or the next guitar that we're going to talk about. So really, after that, guitar number three is kind of this one here. I'll bring it up so everybody can see. Number
yeah.
three, Blue
Oh yeah.
Fender, as we like to call it. This guitar was used for all of the E standard songs for the most part. There's another Tim Chunks built parts caster, has a JB in the bridge. This one had a strap by Proline, which I guess is like another Guitar Center off brand. I have a red Fort Bryan strap on mine because it looks the same, it's just a different logo. And then it also had the strap extension on the bottom. It had at this point this the at the time of the article that we're referencing, the second neck is on the guitar, so the custom
Mm,
shop one is gone,
Hmm.
and it also has the shiny chrome plated Spurzle tuners, which are still on the guitar. And then for one reason or another, has a left-handed tremolo. Why it does
make that make
is
sense.
make that make sense. Probably not to Stevie Ray Vaughan because that's why
Mm.
Billy put his initials on his guitar to begin with.
And as
And
you said before,
yeah,
I would not at all be surprised if it was a case of the guys go to the custom shop and
mhm,
they're just like, we've got the tour in X amount of months, weeks, what have you,
yeah,
and it's a matter of what is available now,
mhm,
or maybe not complete. It could even be,
yeah,
you know, cool. That's an unfinished body sitting there. Oh, cool. It's got a
mhm,
left-handed tremolo route. Cool. Can you just paint that sonic blue for us, and we'll come and pick it up?
right,
You know,
yeah,
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I
yeah.
really don't think, like you said, it could have been a Stevie nod, but I mean, I think just as easily it could have been. That is what you have. That will be the quickest way to get us a working guitar for the tour.
yeah. We'll make it
It's
work.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like it just based on that and the previous guitar we talked about, in that it had the 70s headstock and
Mhm.
just regular vintage tuners. Yeah,
Just an overall very out of character guitar.
Hmm.
Guitar number two, that is.
oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can even argue that it probably like blurs into even what he does today with the Gibsons. I'm sure.
oh
I
my
mean,
gosh, because he has so
yeah,
many of them.
yeah, and I'm just assuming, Billy, correct us if we're wrong. I can imagine that it's the same kind of deal where it's like, all right, we have this tour, we need these many backups. Let's just
Yeah,
slap some what we like, and let's not, because I know Billy isn't that much of a gearhead. I mean, we know
yeah.
that.
So yeah, supposedly.
Supposedly. So I know he likes his collection, but I'm sure
Mhm.
it. I mean, I could even assume that it's the same way as
Yeah,
back
back
then, where
then he probably didn't give it a whole lot of thought and just wanted things that he was comfortable with.
Mm.
yeah, yeah. So yeah,
But yeah, no, that's guitar number three. That's also on a personal note. That's also my favorite blue guitar because all the stickers on it are mostly bands that I like. So may as well
Mm.
rep bands that I enjoy. So
yeah.
long live the
And
Bouncing Souls.
and one thing I may add to that, I
Sure.
going back in kind of again going back to when we started looking into these things and how the available information was so much less when we were younger.
Mhm.
I almost liken the Blue Fender almost like Tom Sticker Strat, because
Sure.
back in the day, to sound like that, it's
Yeah.
people were replicating Blue left, right, and center, but
Mhm.
no one really knew as much as the Blue Fender was the other most well-known guitar, because there were photos of
Yeah.
it flying around and he used it at a lot of shows in that era.
Mhm.
There was still not really a whole lot known, because I
That's right.
remember threads back in the day similar to what you were involved in, Q, on the Blink forums, trying to figure out, cool, like, what is this guitar? What are all these stickers? So,
Right. Yeah. I mean, the most that we knew was the Crumbs, Fang, and Drink Coffee and Destroy, and to
Yeah,
yeah.
a lesser degree, Degeneration.
Mm.
yeah.
And it was really just,
Yeah.
yeah, a weird unknown time.
For
Yeah,
sure.
and
Yeah,
then and
and
then
Timmy Chunks remembers building that guitar. Now it lives on. It's in the Punk Rock Museum. It's kind of their contribution. I think Mike has a bass in there too with
He
the Sam
does,
I
yeah.
Am sticker, with the Sam I Am sticker on it. So it's great that that guitar lives on, because I think it's the last existing blue guitar that's not his original that he's played forever. So moving
right.
on from there is guitar number 4, which is probably one of the older ones. It's the Fernandez LE1 Stratocaster, the Lake Placid Blue. Your favorite, right, Hammy?
Yeah, that's absolutely my favorite by a long shot, just because of how obscure it is, I think.
Yeah. The more
That's
obscure,
a
the better.
it's a bit of a trend I have. It's like, oh cool, that guitar was seen for like a month. Awesome, sign me up, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah, I mean, this one was the backup for Blue Fender. So, given how much of a workhorse this guitar was, we really didn't see this one a lot. I think it was like professionally shot at one show in '97. It was
The
the Alley
alley.
show,
The
the
alley,
Alley
yeah.
Yeah.
show. And I believe, and I'm fairly certain this is accurate because they were playing outside in the free, because this was right after the Tower Records incident where they
Yeah.
kind of destroyed the store. And I remember I think it was because they were playing outside in the freezing cold, because this
Mm.
was like almost dead of winter Toronto, the start of winter.
Mm.
And they didn't want to take their main guitars and have kind of everything get all fucked up. So like we'll just take these our spare guitars, and then so for the Nimrod songs he took this LE1, and that's really kind of the only place that we've got references of it that actually like look good. Because again, it was the
Yeah.
same thing as Desert Sand or whatever you want to call it. It's in that total guitar photo, and we're just like, what is that guitar? Like
Mm.
somebody tell us what is this guitar?
Yeah.
So, but this one at this point they start following the same blueprint as the other guitars. It has a JB in the bridge, has Spursville locking tuners, it has the shallower strap locks, it has locked at the top and then taped on the bottom with extension. And then this was actually a guitar that Bill Schneider got for Billy. And the main thing that he did was he took the headstock and he took the sharp edge that was here and kind of made it look like a real Strat.
Yeah.
He probably didn't have to do that, but he did.
Yeah. And I guess to add on to that, the shout out to the crew and also Billy, but I mean,
Yeah.
it was a pretty simple setup, I mean, Billy knew
Mm-hmm.
what he wanted. He knew what, also just to nerd out a little bit more, he knew what matched what tone they were trying to get, and
Right.
what also the consistency too. So I mean,
Yeah.
that kind
From
of
guitar
shows
to
like
guitar.
guitar to guitar, like it's pretty much the same exact thing, especially with the pickups. I mean, JB,
Each
or
guitar has a
SH4.
JB, has one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
slanted
Which is
SH4. You know.
and which for the record is a great pickup. It does
Yeah,
everything that you need
Absolutely.
it to do. I
yeah,
love how it sounds in this guitar.
yeah. It's
Um,
great, and I think they
but
just
yeah,
I think apart from finding what they had available for parts, they wanted it to be as consistent as possible.
yeah,
So
Mm.
definitely.
even if they had it for one show,
Even
so
even if it was for one show or it was just kind of there, kind of just waiting in the wings. Really, the
mhm.
only other thing that I've got about this guitar is unfortunately how it ended up. It is no longer with us. Sadly, Bill Schneider confirmed that for us. So then this one is it's not a Billy guitar, but I really wanted to include it again for
Mm.
its obscurity. This is the Holoflake guitar. So this was the guitar. This was another parts caster that Tim built, that Timmy Chunks built. This was his guitar. This was the guitar that he used when Billy would sing for Platypus and King for a Day. I think those are the only two songs that he would sing for
Yeah,
back then.
Yeah, unless they were doing Jaded in that run, but even then, sometimes
Even
you've
then,
seen him play it.
he was playing. I think he
Play.
was still playing guitar for Jaded at
hmm
that
Mm.
time. But when it was Tim's turn to play, he had his own guitar for that. So this was probably another parts caster that he built.
Mm.
Again, same blueprint. It has JB in the bridge. Oddly enough, this guitar has the Fender, the Schaller made Fender locking tuners that they were using back in the '90s. They were kind of unbranded Schaller tuners. Those were all satin chrome all the way through. They're actually pretty recognizable. You can see them on like the Strat Pluses and those guitars that they were putting out back then. And then the single coils that are actually in it, those are not actually pickups. Those are just dummy covers
Just
that are
dummy covers,
sitting,
yeah.
just sitting in the pick guard. I don't even think that they're screwed in. I think they're
Yeah,
just kind
probably
of
not.
sitting there.
Yeah,
How they didn't get like kind of mixed around is kind of interesting to me, but that's physics in a nutshell. And then it had three black tone knobs on it. Like each of the three said tone. So I can only presume that probably it was probably just wired up, just very straightforward, probably just humbucker to volume to the output jack. But I think it was just wired like that. And again, with whatever parts were available, I think this guitar was built mid tour and probably just like, hey, we need another guitar. Do you have a black guitar? And Fender decides to just give them like, hey, we have this. It's kind of sparkly, but it's a black guitar. Here, take it. And the Holoflake color is actually a custom shop color. It's kind of hard to come by these days, but I don't think they make it anymore. But it was kind of like a '90s, 2000s offering. But yeah, this guitar was used by Tim when Billie Joe would sing, and Tim still has it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we haven't seen any new photos of it, which would be cool because I'd be really interested to know how it's looking these days. But
yeah, I talked
without
to
a doubt, still has it.
For sure. Yeah, I had a mutual friend that he plays music with confirm that for me, and he also told me that it should still have all the stickers on it too. So Bouncing Soul should still be on there. I think there's a fish sticker on there too, which is kind of cool.
Nice. Yeah.
But yeah, so Tim still has that guitar, which is pretty awesome. And then kind of as an added bonus, during the warm-up tour was the Candy Apple Red Telecaster. That one's also in the Total Guitar photo. That color is Candy Apple Red, which is one of my favorite colors.
And the Total Guitar photo almost makes it look like a weird,
like a
dark brown almost.
Yeah, like a dark red or like what's the red? Dakota red, almost like that, little bit. But it's like, but it's definitely Candy Apple Red. It's got a very unique look to it.
Yeah.
And same thing, JB. This one's got a double bound body. I've never been able to find another Fender like this. Have you guys?
It's not something I've dug into a whole lot. Like they're obviously around, but yeah, I haven't went down the path enough to understand. Like, is it a reissues of a specific year, or was it a maybe not a reissue, but like a more modern, lineup that they did? Like, I've never been able to narrow it down.
Yeah, neither have I. Yeah, it definitely. I remember Tim also saying in that interview was that it was a custom shop guitar, so it might have been something that they were working on, but it's still kind of interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's got a Strat volume knob on it, which I guess for consistency, because Telecasters have different knobs on it. This one was locked on both ends, so the top and the bottom were the shallow strap locks, and then this guitar was only used for the warm-up tour. Blue Fender eventually replaced it. The other three Strats were already in there, and then I don't think we know where this one is.
No. The only thing I know is that it was smashed after Basket Case, right, on the Alley show.
Oh, that was the red Strat, not the
my bad.
Delicate. No, you're good. No, you're good. That's the two red guitars. I can understand that. Even then, I think that red Strat, which was a one-off guitar, I think just to not use blue. I think even that survived.
yeah, very true.
More than likely, but yeah, those are all the guitars that were used. So, Bass, do you want to take over amps? Kind of tell us what those are all about.
Let's do it. So I'll go back just a little bit. So for those who know a little bit about the like the Dookie modded Marshall. So before Dookie, he was using a Marshall, but it was a JCM 900. And when they, during the Dookie tour, they transitioned to the a copy of the amp owned by Rob Cavallo. So it was the Dookie mod with the master volume and gain control. And then they started, when they went to Insomniac, there was a second amp, which was also used on Insomniac, owned by Rob Cavallo. and it was the SOP lead mod, which is
Yeah.
had the 4th preamp tube. And also feel free to correct me as I go along. But yeah,
Oh,
SOP
yeah.
lead mod, master volume and gain control. Very, very browny, darker, heavier
Yeah,
sound.
it's a darker sounding amp. I remember Hans said that it's that meat, they're peat and meat as they're called.
Yeah.
So the Dookie mod amp is peat, and then the SE lead mod is called meat. Just the
Yeah.
I guess the nicknames that they have for them. And
Yeah.
I remember Hans saying that meat is like an '80s metal kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could definitely hear that.
It's a
Yeah.
lot kind of tighter, I would say, in the bottom end. Like it's
I would agree.
a bit more kind of compressed and just kind of glued together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you could definitely hear that, especially on the Insomniac recordings. You could just hear
Mhm.
they
Oh, for
that's kind
sure.
of what the direction they were heading in. And, you can, and then they started to, I guess the correct term would be slaving, having those two amps together on the Insomniac
Mhm.
tour, and then
Yep.
it carried over, and he kept those both amps, Pete and Meat,
Mhm.
and still has them to this day.
Yeah,
Mm,
he's still using them.
Yeah, and I
yeah.
should also add, during that same warm up tour where the Candy Apple guitar and
Yeah.
the Fernandez Strat, he,
Mhm.
I guess maybe the same as they didn't want to take their main gear, but he did end up using
For
a
the Alley
JCM.
show.
Yeah, for the Alley show, he used the JCM 900
Yeah,
for
I'm pretty
that.
sure that's his same one that he was
Yeah,
using all those years before that they carried as a spare amp, because there were a couple other instances that amp was used. And
yeah,
TV
because
performances as well.
yeah, TV performances, it's very a JCM 900 is a very unique sound because of the diode clipping on the second channel. It's a lot more crunchy,
yeah,
and you can really hear that on a couple performances, especially that Alley show. It's a very unique crunch.
yeah. It's
I
a
really
very
like it. A
distinct
lot of
tone,
people
and you can,
don't.
yeah, and it's funny, like when you go even to the main tour right after that,
Mhm.
like the first Astoria show, for example,
Oh yeah.
you can hear the difference as clear as
Mhm.
day. Like,
Oh,
oh
for
yeah,
sure.
this is their main stuff. And going into the settings, you know, it's interesting because I kind of go back and forth between if they kind of change stuff from, like, for example, like that Jaded and Chicago tone
Yeah.
throughout Insomniac and um, Nimrod. But the gain on the Nimrod tour was 4, the master
Hmm.
was 4.
Also at four.
Pretty close down the middle.
Yeah.
Um, Presence was 4.5, but when you get into the bass, it was all the way up. So
Yeah,
I'm not
because there's
sure.
no bass on a Marshall.
Yeah, no bass on the Marshall. It's pretty high. And
Mm,
my other theory is they wanted to thick up the sound since it's just the three of
yeah.
them.
For sure.
Jason wasn't in there yet, so I'm assuming
Right.
they just wanted that extra punch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah,
definitely.
pretty
Yeah,
much straight down the middle. Middle 4, treble 4.5,
yeah.
and
I
then
also think that those
yeah,
settings were copied over from his JC 900, and they were probably tweaking as they were going along, because I think on the 900 he had his I think the bass was all the way up, and then
Correct.
the at least for the EQ, the middle and treble were about the same, because even
yeah,
then when he was still using the Bill Lawrence, before he got the GB in blue, is that's a really bright pickup.
yeah,
So you're not gonna have a lot of bottom end. And like I said, there's no bass on a Marshall, so you're gonna be cranking that all the way up anyway. So I
yeah,
think those were kind of copied over, and then they
yeah,
just kind of tweaked as they went.
yeah. No, I totally agree. And even if you compare, you know, I think maybe they dialed the gain a little bit back from
Mhm.
Dookie and Insomniac, because I
Yeah.
feel like at the tail end of the Dookie tour, just to go back a little bit, especially when you hear those soundboard recordings from the sound check at the Chicago show, that
Mhm.
thing's cranked, and
Oh shit,
Yeah.
yeah.
you can hear like with the gain a little bit more maxed and the bass it's
Hmm.
banging.
Yeah.
So
It absolutely is. And
yeah, and
so
also maybe it has something to do with Mike going to the Mesa
Yeah. Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
If
To his Mesa Boogie stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's right.
so maybe if they were just trying to match more. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, you can definitely hear a difference. But I mean, yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
pretty straight down the middle there in terms of settings, except for the bass being all the way up.
Yeah,
And
except for
then
Mm.
that being all. Yeah.
yeah, and then cabinets just 1960s, BVs, and then they got the vintage 30s for the
Yeah.
speakers. And, can't get
He
can't get
can't
better than
can't get any
that.
better than that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah, I mean, those are amps.
yeah, those are
Gotta love
amps.
them.
Yeah, gotta
Yeah.
love them, man. Yeah.
So now for the, I guess, more complicated stuff, we did a lot of research, or Hammy more specifically, you did a lot of
Yeah.
research into this. What can you tell us about the Rackmount stuff?
It's both really straightforward and not too dissimilar to what they're doing now, but also a lot more complex just in the way of how gear has moved forward over the past 30 years because
For sure.
fundamentally it's really operating the same way in that um, both previously and now the guitar signals are coming in. The way they're routed is changing over the years, but they're either going effectively to the two modded Marshalls
Hmm.
or into CAE 3 plus SE preamp
Right.
um, for alternate sounds. So the core way that the sounds are achieved really isn't any different. 97, 98 through to even now.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, the way that all of that signal is routed and the gear to do it, it definitely took it took a bit of digging because, back in, what do we say, 97,
Hmm.
um, the wireless gear, you can see in a lot of these shots, nowadays we're used to, God, you can get things like the X5 and whatnot wireless. It just
Right.
plugs into your
Yeah, it
guitar
just
like as a
plugs
little
right into
dongle.
your
But
guitar. Yeah.
back in 97, you see that they've got a whole separate rack case. I think it's like an 8RU rack case or something, or maybe
Yeah.
six, that has two, quite large receivers in there, which are
Mhm.
X-Wire XR905s, which I'd never heard of really before looking into what um, Billy was using. But
Same here.
it turns out they were kind of, the the go-to unit probably in the late 90s. And as I found out as I went through, the X-Wire stuff in some way actually birthed the Line 6 relay series. Because
Hmm.
as it turns out in the early to mid 2000s, X-Wire rebranded to X2, who were then bought out by Line 6 in 2008. And a lot of that learning was carried over into the relay series that we still use now. So, um, yeah, that was an interesting thing for me to find.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was the first time that I had heard of Xwire as well. And I was able to find
Mm.
some of their stuff on Reverb, like past sold listings kind of thing, to kind of see what they looked like. And I'm like, oh, they must have been reliable units, you
Mm.
know?
Absolutely, yeah. But the it's quite interesting with this rig that the whole um, kind of approach to, just we'll use whatever works kind of from the guitars carries over to the rigs as well because they then the wirelesses head into a Whirlwind AB box, which is still a product you can buy now. It has an AB foot switch and a
Yeah.
Y switch to send signal out of, to two paths, but they've effectively put it in reverse, got
Hmm.
rid of the Y switch, so they're having two inputs into one output to select which wireless receiver they wanted to go with, which I thought
Yeah.
was,
And I
um,
think that it seemed like that the way that they had the wireless set up was that they would have, is that the wireless was dependent on what tuning they were going to be in. Would it
correct.
be fair to
Yeah,
say? Okay.
yeah. That's my
That's
understanding
what I
is that
thought.
any standard guitars would, they obviously have their own packs, but they'd be on the same frequency so that, you
Right.
know, if
Yeah.
they did have to switch, it would just be a matter of here, have that,
Right.
is how I've understood it.
Mhm.
Um, Now, where things start to get a little bit interesting is that there is the switcher that they use now is an RJM effect gizmo, which is the
Mhm.
successor to the RJM IG16, which I have one. I personally got one, which is a uh, MIDI switcher. But prior to that, they were using still CAE, but it's
Mhm.
referred to, and this was the hardest bit of gear for me to find because it seems like it was either not a production piece or it was one that became outdated or replaced quite quick. It
Yeah.
is referred to as the CAE amp selector. That's just what it says on the front, which is quite a primitive way of going about what they had to do because effectively there's the guitar input is running into these, um, and there is then not to get it to talk about signal path and whatnot all too much for people that either don't care or don't want to spend the time to know it. But um, there's a whole bunch of cables coming out of the front of this that you can see in the rig photos we'll have up on screen that are going to
Yeah.
the front end of the Marshalls. Um, is one signal path. Then another signal path that's going into the CAE 3 Plus SE preamp. And then a lot of outputs that are going either to the live cabinets or in the case that we'll get to in a second, there were some outputs running from the rear of this unit that were going to external power amps that were feeding further cabinets on the stage,
Yeah.
which this kind of threw me for a spin a little bit when we were looking into what the power amps were, because
Yeah.
it turns out that there are two different power amps in
Right.
that rack, which for the longest time made absolutely zero sense to me. But Q, you pointed out a really good article, I think one that I was initially overlooking when I was trying to piece it all together, where it's actually explained quite well. It seems like what they're doing is one of these power amps is an 8008, however you
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
refer to it.
Yeah. It's the Marsh. Yeah. It's the Marshall. It's the valve state. So the VS 8008,
There we go.
which is again, it's a long discontinued piece. I don't think Marshall makes it anymore, but that was one of the power amps. And then the other one was the 9200. Um,
Mm.
which maybe they make still. I don't remember, but don't quote me on that. But those were the two. Those are the two power amps that he was using, and I want to say those were feeding the custom audio preamp, correct?
Yeah, so one of them was being used for the custom audio preamp because at the
Okay,
time they didn't have the Marshalls didn't have effects loops, which they now have
right.
got. So they've been able to
Yeah.
eliminate these. But effectively at that time, if you sent a signal into the 3 Plus like they're doing, you would have to amplify that some way to actually get the volume
Correct.
to push a speaker. So
Hmm.
um, yeah, they were using one of those two power amps to actually push those cabinets. So there was a cabinet dedicated to the 3 Plus.
Right.
Um, but interestingly, the second power amp was actually there being slaved while the Marshalls were being used, which is
Interesting.
what we found that was quite interesting. So
Hmm.
it does seem like they were actually, I guess, almost duplicating the main sound, um,
Huh.
Interesting.
because at this time, really, the 3 Plus was only ever used for clean. It's a three-channel
Correct.
preamp,
Right.
and nowadays they are using two of those channels, channel one and two. But at the time, really until American Idiot, it was only the one channel that was ever used, which was
Yeah. It
the
was.
clean channel,
Wow.
which is
Yeah.
based off a blackface Fender.
Right. Yeah, because it seemed like that the foot switch that they were using, which was just the FS1 foot switch, that was
Mm.
only the switch between channel one on the custom audio and between and when that was clicked, and then when that was clicked, it would click over to the Marshalls, and
Yeah,
that was
that
his
that was
sound.
that was just a foot switch that ran into that CAE amp switcher and pretty much said the guitar signal coming in, send it down path A, which will be to the
Yeah.
Marshalls, or path B, which will be through the CAE into one of the
Right.
additional preamp power amps
And
into their own
no
cabinets.
pedals either.
None.
Yeah.
No
No
pedals.
pedals. No pedals really came into the rack until, which I'm no doubt we'll talk about in a future episode, but until pretty much the warning tour. And at that
Yeah.
point, it's noted as saying that they're really only there for fun at sound checks. It's not
Mhm.
really until 2004 when they go out for American Idiot that there is actually a functional pedal that's in use during the show in Billy's rack.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
and even
even
to
Yeah.
this day,
Yeah. This rack was. Yeah. This is super bare bones compared to
yeah.
what he's using now.
yeah,
And I guess it was more of a less is more ideology.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Q, because I mean, for me, because I deal with rack stuff so much, like I've had
Oh
for my
yeah.
live gear that I use for shows and stuff, I've had racks similar, not similar in the gear that's being used, but similar in the functionality.
Yeah.
And they're both they are quite complex to understand, but at the same
Mhm.
time, like I would, it's all personal preference, but I would almost argue that the rack is simpler now that they're using
Yeah.
nowadays,
I
just
I
because
could
of
I could understand.
just given that they've eliminated the need to have additional power amps and the
Yeah.
switching systems are now MIDI controlled, I should say, which
Yeah.
are not as primitive. But yeah, they're certainly not easy to rigs of this nature, not easy to approach. I guess to someone whose idea of guitar is I have a cable, I'm going to plug that into a Marshall, and that's
Mhm.
my live sound.
Yeah.
Bass points at
Right. Yeah.
himself. But
yeah.
but
But I was
yeah,
Well,
gonna,
me
like
too.
I was gonna say too, like even back in Nimrod, the only thing I remember him playing clean for was prosthetic head, and
Yeah.
even then I don't think they played it that much,
and it wasn't that clean either.
It wasn't
Yeah. It
that
That
was
was the
clean.
very.
other
Yeah.
interesting thing.
Yeah. It still had. It was like almost like a push kind of clean sound, and then but
Oh,
it was
for sure.
still different enough from like when you get to the chorus where it clicks over to the Marshalls.
Yeah, and even for Time of Your Life, he would
You would be on the
turn
Marshalls for
down
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
he would turn
Mm.
down the volume. I mean, maybe a little bit. He would I mean, it was
Mhm.
barely like that was not clean, man. I mean,
No,
No.
that was
yeah.
definitely not clean by any
Yeah.
stretch.
Yeah. Even in American Idiot when he would still play it on electric, before because I think he didn't start playing acoustic till 21st century.
Mm.
So he would
Mhm.
still be playing it same way he was playing it during Nimrod,
Yeah,
with
for
Yeah.
sure.
that Marshall. So, yeah.
Yeah. But I think that really about covers it, hey guys.
I think that's it. Yeah, I think that brings us to the end of our notes. If we have anything else to add.
Um, I think the only thing I would maybe add is just um, that it doesn't fundamentally change anything. Is it was just interesting to see that depending on the venue, it seemed like they did duplicate the amp setup as well, to where they were
Yeah,
sometimes
Yeah.
using four heads, two Dookie
Hmm.
and two SC lead. Now, I guess what we probably don't know is if that's redundancy or if they were doing that just to push more cabs in a larger venue. Um,
I wonder if it was because that's a great question because that was something that they were even doing back in the Insomniac days.
Yeah.
oh,
I think
true, yeah.
was
Yeah.
the first time that I saw them doing it because we were talking about that the other day.
Yeah, the other
Was
day.
that
Yeah, because yeah.
you pointed out Bass the four heads and I had said it was either backups or for Trey to use or which I highly doubt. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I
Yeah.
wonder if it was for redundancy. That's an interesting point.
In that point of a backup, I would. He would use the JCM.
Well, and that's
So,
Right.
that's it as well. It's kind of like if your backup is the JCM, which we know that it is because we've seen it not only at like we've said, TV performances or the alley, but am I
Mhm.
right in saying, Q, that it has actually been there behind, sitting in a stack behind the cabs
Mo
next to
More
Trey?
than I mean, more than likely, yeah. I mean, there's a couple videos even from '94 where they're still carrying that amp. There's I think it was at a Nassau on
yeah.
Long Island.
Yeah.
You can see the camera kind of goes on Billy during Dominated Love Slave. The JCM 900 is sitting right there.
Mm.
So it's more than likely that was very much the case until 1998.
Mm.
So, yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I
Think that
think that's
covers it,
about it.
lads.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
do we want to give any? Does anyone want to give any secrets or hints away about what might be coming up next on the Three Nimrods?
Uh,
Because truth be told, we don't know. We know there's a lot of things
yeah.
happening,
We
but
have no
what will
yeah,
be
we
next?
don't know. I think I might have something here. I'll be right back.
Yeah, great.
Whoa.
Oh, well,
Ooh.
if
Oh, yeah.
This look
There it
familiar to
is.
anybody? It might.
I don't
Let
know.
me
That might be what's next.
Yeah.
let
Here,
me.
I'll grab my one piece of.
This
Oh
is my
yeah.
contribution.
Hold on.
Oh yeah,
Ah,
that's there we go.
There we
If
for
go.
you know,
those
you
that
know.
know, yeah.
For those that
Well, actually,
know.
and we might as well just there you go. That's
Ooh.
Ah.
Well,
um
I'll say for me, as well as catching up with and talking and nerding out with two good buddies of mine,
Yeah.
I will say for me specifically, it ignited my love of gear,
Hmm.
uh, research about said gear, and also one of our favorite bands. And all I'm gonna say is I've been having a lot of fun digging back into this, and
Yeah, same here.
I'll just say the typical local band term: big things coming.
Big things coming. Big
no,
things coming for sure.
Yeah.
it's been super good, guys. I mean, this is like literally like old times in what we're talking about, but
Yeah.
the timing as well, because it would often be Bass when we would talk when we were, 11, 12 years old. I would
Yeah.
wake up on a Saturday morning, which it's in Australia, it's Saturday morning at 11 a.m. for me now,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
it's your guys' Friday evening, so it's just how we used to do it
Yeah.
15 odd years ago, as much as I
Yeah.
hate to say that. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, we also are older and more knowledgeable, not only about life, but how to research about things that are
To
passionate
not
to
give up,
us.
to not give up so easily.
Yeah. Yeah. And also now we have even more tools in the sense of technology and
Sure.
sources from people online, and
mm,
also, yeah, gives us a chance to do what we did back then, but even on a better level, you
On a
know?
on
it,
a much better level. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
really is a
I can
case
tell.
of
I can tell this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
yeah. And I think it's a really great time to be doing it for anyone watching. I think even for yourselves, if you want to get into, kind of researching your favorite bands and stuff,
Mhm.
and gear that was used, especially if they're a band that maybe has had, a lot of stuff happening in the 90s, because we're really getting into an era of, Bass talked before about how like we're, a lot more mature now and able to do these things because we're
Mhm.
not children. But I feel like even if we were the age we are now,
Yeah.
15 odd years ago, it's just the resources just weren't there. Like there's
Yeah.
still stuff coming out of the woodworks now in the digital age where,
Mhm.
like in your case, Q, pulling forgotten Japanese guitar articles out of Japan and
See if
and
I got it
answering
here.
questions and getting the best photos of guitars that we could have only dreamed about 15 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's my uh, parting message to anyone who might be watching. If you're passionate for it, get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do, and
Do what
a
you
lot,
love.
like, do what you love, and you have so much resources, and also now a lot more people are jumping on the train too,
Mm.
so reach out to anybody.
Yeah.
Anyone would be
There's a
happy
whole
to.
handful of us that are really into this. So, but yeah. I mean, I don't really have anything else to add. You guys kind of nailed it on the head. So for anybody that listened to us ramble, thank you.
Yeah.
And I think on that, the only thing I'd maybe say is as much as we've all, we just alluded to little things that we have happening that are going to make future discussion points. If there's anything in the Green Day adjacent scape of gear that
Mhm.
you'd like us to tackle, even if it's different eras, as much as the
Yeah.
namesake of the channel is Nimrod, and that's kind of what we've all connected over. Um, I've been doing a lot of deep dives into the 21st century breakdown stuff,
Yeah.
and so if there's anything else that any of you have questions on, let us know
Yeah.
and we'll
Let us
we'll address
know.
it.
Yeah. We'll happily go over as much as we can and as much as we know too.
Mm,
So, because I think between the three of us, we kind of have a fair amount of their stuff covered.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Heck yeah, guys.
So, all right, I
Cool.
think we'll cap it here. Thanks
Yeah.
everybody for watching. Hopefully, we'll see you guys again real soon.